Welcome back, mates. Crypto Lovers Trading Group. Hope everybody's doing well this morning, Thursday morning, a little bit after 8 a.m. I thought this was really interesting. I want you guys to take a look at it. It's coming from Trading View Ideas, and this is really from some trend analysis. And this is really good what we talked about in the Discord in terms of having that channel for Bitcoin halving. Like, why is Bitcoin halving such a big deal? And how now, with a lot of history, with Bitcoin in terms of cycles, having cycles, right? The last one being in 2020. Remember, right after the outbreak of COVID in April of 2020. So that one's a little bit of an anomaly because we know what happened in April 2020 with the price of Bitcoin and crypto in general, with that outbreak. So you have to factor that in and balance it out with the previous halving. So you have 12, 16, 20, and then you've got March of 2024 coming up in 2 years. So we're about 2 years, really, through the current halving 2020 cycle. You can kind of see where we're at right here now. Here's the halving May 4th. So you can see this chart's broken up into the halving post-2012, post-2016, post-2020. What's been happening with the trajectory of Bitcoin? Again, this is a weekly chart, not a daily or an hourly or a 1 minute, okay? So you've got to, this is really what you want to macro look at Bitcoin if you're a Bitcoin trader or you have any exposure to Bitcoin at all, and then dial it on down, okay? You don't have to be an active trader. You don't have to be a day trader, a scalper, a swinger, a leverage trader. You don't have to be any of that to want to understand how this works, because stocks have something similar, okay? When a stock splits, what tends to happen to that stock? More people tend to buy because they can get it cheaper, right? Or a company buys back its stock for those same reasons, right? To be able to provide more value to shareholders, to be able to provide a lower price in certain circumstances after a split. So the market then carries it all the way back higher. Shareholders make money. Everybody's happy. Well, Bitcoin works in the same way, similarly in terms of it at like 210,000 or so. It halves, okay? In terms of its block, in terms of its mind, call that. So basically you're impacting supply, okay, by reducing supply, therefore increasing demand. Okay, and so that's how that works, and it's done intentionally. Remember, there's going to come, unlike stocks, okay, Bitcoin is a commodity-driven instrument. Make no mistake. I mean, it doesn't. People can argue whatever they want to argue. The dollar is not a commodity, okay, because they keep printing it and printing it and printing it and printing it, okay, to pay for God knows what, okay? It's basically, fiat is basically a manipulation scheme for governments. It really is. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, like, wait, what? It's not backed by anything, okay? And they can print whatever they want to print. We, in America, we just spent friggin' $7 trillion, $8 trillion in the last year that we don't have. Okay, but we'll borrow it from our enemies, right? I mean, that's the stupidity of America, and the arrogance of America sometimes will baffle even the most level-minded person. Because on the one hand, America blames Germany for buying Russian gas and supporting the Russians, but we have our debt that's paid for and serviced by China. Like, and yet America tries to come across as being like somehow pure in its judgment of other countries. Like, I don't think Germany should be relying 60% of their oil and gas on Russia myself, but that's a decision the Germans made. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's the reality sometimes when you look at these things. But Bitcoin, nonetheless, is a commodity, okay? Because it's supply and demand driven. And there will come a time in the next decade and a half that no bit more Bitcoin will be mined, okay? And then what happens? There's no more mining, okay? So no more tokens are going to be produced, all right? So this is why the halving thing is important to keep an eye on in terms of marking your cycle tops and bottoms based on the